Feed me and I'll heal your son. The millionaire only believed when he saw the impossible. Richard Thompson was leaving the most expensive hospital in New York City when his life took a turn he could never have imagined. His son Ethan, just 12 years old, had been in a wheelchair for 2 years, victim of a rare degenerative disease that had taken the use of his legs. Then, out of nowhere, a thin black boy in worn-out clothes appeared. With a firm voice that didn't match his fragile appearance, he spoke the words that would change everything. "Feed me and I'll heal your son." Richard stopped, gripping the handles of Ethan's wheelchair tightly. The boy continued, "I know how to make him walk again. My grandma taught me. She healed many people back in rural Louisiana." Richard felt a mix of anger and pity. How many times had he been approached by opportunists trying to exploit his desperation? But there was something different about this boy. Maybe it was the conviction in his brown eyes, or the way he looked straight at Ethan, not at him. "Listen here, kid," Richard began, already pulling out his wallet. "Take $100 and leave. I don't need another charlatan in my life." The boy stepped back, refusing the money. "I don't want your money, mister, just a hot meal every day. In return, I'll teach your son to walk again." Ethan, who had been silently watching, shifted in his chair. "Dad, let him talk." His voice was weak, but there was a spark of curiosity in his eyes, one Richard hadn't seen in months. "Ethan, son, you know how many doctors we've seen, the best specialists in the country." "I know, Dad, but—" Ethan looked at the boy. "What's your name?" "Marcus, sir. Marcus Johnson." The boy stepped closer but kept a respectful distance. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers a lot. Now continuing, Jennifer, Richard's wife, watched from their luxury car. When she saw the boy approach, she hurried out. "Richard, what's going on here?" She eyed Marcus suspiciously. "Who is this boy?" "Mom, he says he can help me walk," Ethan cut in before his father could answer. Jennifer laughed, but it wasn't joyful. It was bitter, full of pent-up frustration. "Oh, really? And where did he study medicine? On the streets?" Marcus didn't flinch at the sarcasm. "My grandma, Grandma Rose, healed many people in Bayou Country. She taught me everything before." His voice wavered. "Before she passed." "Richard, let's go. Enough of this nonsense." Jennifer turned back toward the car. But then Marcus did something unexpected. Right there on the hospital sidewalk, he began demonstrating a series of movements, exercises none of Ethan's expensive physical therapists had ever shown. Fluid motions, almost like a dance, but with clear purpose in each gesture. Ethan's eyes widened. "Dad, look! This is different from anything I've seen." Richard was impressed too, but tried not to show it. "And you think doing this dance will make my son walk again?" "It's not a dance, mister. These movements stimulate the body's meridians. My grandma learned them from elders who learned from even older ones. It's ancient knowledge, but it works." Jennifer returned, angrier now. "Richard, I'll call hospital security if you don't—" "Dad, please!" Ethan grabbed his father's arm with surprising strength. "Just one chance. What do we have to lose?" Richard looked at his son. Over the past 2 years, he'd spent fortunes on treatments, traveled abroad, consulted top specialists, and Ethan remained in his wheelchair, growing more disheartened by the day. What would it be to give a boy some food in exchange for a glimmer of hope, no matter how small? "Where do you live, Marcus?" Richard asked, ignoring his wife's furious glare. "Around, sir. I sleep wherever I can." Marcus lowered his eyes for the first time. "Are you homeless?" Jennifer asked, her voice now carrying a different tone. It wasn't anger anymore. It was concern. "How old are you?" 14, ma'am." Richard made a decision. "Listen, Marcus, I'm going to give you a chance, one chance only. If you show up at my house tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon, we can talk further." He pulled a card from his pocket and handed it to the boy. Marcus looked at the address. Upper East Side, the wealthy part of New York City. His eyes lit up, but not with greed. It was hope. "I'll be there, sir. I promise." On the drive home, the car was silent. Jennifer was at the wheel, Richard in the passenger seat, and Ethan in the back with his foldable chair beside him. "You've both lost your minds," Jennifer finally broke the silence, giving our address to a homeless boy. Mom, he didn't seem dangerous, Ethan defended. Of course not, sweetheart. Scammers never do. Scammers. They know exactly how to manipulate us, using our pain, our desperation. Richard stayed quiet, staring out the window. He knew Jennifer had every right to be worried, but there was something about that boy. It wasn't just what he said, but how he said it. The absolute conviction that he could help. That night, Ethan barely touched his dinner. He was restless, full of questions about the next day. It had been a long time since Richard had seen his son like this, with something resembling excitement. Dad, do you think he'll show up? I don't know, son, maybe. What if he actually can do it? What if I walk again? Richard moved closer and ran his fingers through his son's blonde hair. Ethan, I don't want you to get your hopes up. We've been through this before, remember? I know, but he seemed so sure of what he was saying, and those movements he made. Jennifer walked into the room. Ethan, bedtime. We have physical therapy at 10 tomorrow. But Mom, what if Marcus, if he shows up, we'll talk. But we're not changing our routine for a stranger. The next day, Richard cancelled 2 important meetings. He stayed home, trying to work in his office, but unable to focus. At every sound, he glanced out the window. Jennifer had taken Ethan to physical therapy, annoyed that Richard insisted on waiting for that boy. At exactly 2 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Richard nearly ran to answer but caught himself. He walked calmly to the intercom. Yes? Mr. Richard? It's Marcus. You told me to come. Richard opened the gate and went to the entrance. Marcus stood there, wearing the same clothes as the day before, but clearly having tried to clean up. His hair was combed, his face washed. You actually came. I said I would, sir. A man's word is his bond. Richard led him inside. The house was enormous, with high ceilings, artwork on the walls, and imported furniture. Marcus looked around with curiosity, but without the awe Richard expected. Nice house, sir, but it must be a pain to clean all this. Richard laughed, surprised. Yeah, it is. Have a seat, Marcus. Let's talk. They settled in the living room. Richard poured juice and set out cookies, which Marcus accepted with quiet gratitude. Tell me about your grandmother. This Grandma Rose. Marcus sipped his juice slowly, as if savoring it. Grandma was a midwife and a healer back in Bayou Springs, but she knew way more than that. She could cure people doctors had given up on. How did she do that? With her hands, sir, and with movements. She said the body has energy pathways, and when those get blocked, we get sick. The movements unblock them. Richard tried to keep an open mind. He'd heard of Chinese medicine, acupuncture, things like that. Maybe there was some truth to what the boy was saying. And you? How did you learn? Marcus's expression changed. A shadow crossed his young face. I was born with weak legs. The doctor said I'd never walk right. Grandma Rose wouldn't accept that. Every day she did the movements on me, every single day. And it worked? Marcus stood up, took a few steps, jumped, and squatted. You think it worked? Richard was impressed but still skeptical. Marcus, understand something. My son has a degenerative disease. It's not just weak legs. The best neurologists in the country have examined him. I know, sir, but you've tried everything their way, right? What's the harm in trying my grandma's way? Just then they heard the car pulling in. Jennifer and Ethan were back from physical therapy. Richard braced himself for the coming argument. Jennifer entered first, saw Marcus, and sighed. So you really came. Good afternoon, ma'am. Marcus stood politely. Ethan came in, pushed by Mary, the housekeeper. When he saw Marcus, his face lit up. You came, Dad. He came. Hey, Ethan. Marcus approached the wheelchair. How are you? Tired. Physical therapy is boring and doesn't help anyway. Ethan, Jennifer scolded. Don't talk like that. Physical therapy is important. Marcus crouched to Ethan's level. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you feel your legs? Like, if I touch them, do you feel it? Kinda. It's like wearing thick socks, you know. I can tell something's touching, but not clearly. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. And pain? Do you feel pain? Sometimes, mostly at night. What kind of pain? Richard was surprised by the questions. The boy seemed to know what he was doing, or at least faked it well. It's like ants crawling inside, and sometimes it feels like needles poking. Marcus smiled. That's a good sign. Good sign? Jennifer cut in. My son being in pain is a good sign? It means the nerves are alive, ma'am, trying to work. If he felt nothing, that'd be bad. Ethan looked at his father hopefully. See, Dad, he gets it. Richard made a decision. Marcus, here's the deal. You come here 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3. In return, you eat lunch and dinner here those days. Deal? Richard, Jennifer protested. Jennifer, please. It's just food in exchange for exercises. What's the problem? Marcus shook his head. No, sir, it's got to be every day. The movements need to be done daily or they won't work. Every day? Jennifer was indignant. You want to come here every day? It's not about wanting, ma'am. It's needing. If you want me to help Ethan, it has to be every day. My grandma always said, a steady drip hollows out a stone, but it's got to drip every day. Ethan grabbed his father's hand. Please, Dad, every day. Richard looked at Jennifer, who rolled her eyes but stayed silent. She clearly thought it was a waste of time, but didn't want to disappoint her son. Fine, every day at 3. But Marcus, I want results. If there's no improvement in a month, Ethan will be moving his toes, sir. Mark my words. The conviction in the boy's voice was so strong even Jennifer seemed shaken. Ethan smiled, a genuine smile Richard hadn't seen in ages. So we start tomorrow? Ethan asked eagerly. No, we start today. Marcus looked at Richard. If you'll allow it, of course. But you didn't bring any equipment or anything? Marcus held up his hands. It's all here, sir, that's all I need. Jennifer stepped forward. Hold on. Before anything, I want to know more about you. Where are your parents? Marcus lowered his eyes. Never knew my dad. My mom, she got lost in drugs when I was little. Grandma Rose raised me. And your grandma? Where is she? She went to heaven 6 months ago, ma'am. A heavy silence followed. Jennifer covered her mouth, regretting the question. Richard cleared his throat awkwardly. Ethan was the one who broke the silence. I'm so sorry, Marcus. It must be hard being alone. Marcus lifted his head, his eyes watery but determined. That's why I need to keep doing her work. It's all I have left. The knowledge she passed down to me. Richard stood up. Let's go to Ethan's room. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. Ethan's room was spacious, adapted for his needs. It had bars on the walls, a special mattress, and physical therapy equipment. Marcus took it all in but said nothing. First, Ethan needs to be comfortable. Marcus looked around. Can we put a yoga mat on the floor? Mary, the housekeeper, brought one. With Richard's help, they moved Ethan from his wheelchair to the mat. Jennifer watched with her arms crossed, clearly tense. Now, Ethan, I want you to take a deep breath, really deep. Fill your belly with air, not your chest. Ethan tried to follow Marcus's instructions. The young man placed a hand on Ethan's stomach. That's it. Feel my hand rising? That's how it should be. For the next few minutes, Marcus guided Ethan through breathing exercises. Nothing dramatic, nothing miraculous, just breathing. Now I'm going to touch your legs, okay? If it hurts or feels too uncomfortable, let me know. Marcus began pressing specific points on Ethan's legs. His fingers moved with precision, as if they knew exactly where to press and how much pressure to apply. There, Ethan exclaimed. I felt it like a sharp pinch. Where? Marcus asked without stopping. In my right foot, like something woke up. Jennifer stepped closer, intrigued despite herself. Richard was also paying full attention. Marcus continued for another 20 minutes, alternating between pressing points and making gentle movements on Ethan's legs. It was nothing like the traditional physical therapy he'd had at the hospital. That's enough for today. Marcus stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow. We'll do more tomorrow. Already? Ethan sounded disappointed, but I was feeling so much. Slow and steady, Ethan. Your body needs to adjust. It's like waking someone who's been asleep a long time. It has to be gradual. Richard helped Ethan back into his wheelchair. So, son, how do you feel? Strange, Dad. It's like something's happening in my legs. I can't explain it. Jennifer approached Marcus. Are you sure you're not hurting him? Ma'am, if I were hurting him, he'd be screaming, not feeling tingles. What he's feeling is blood circulating properly, nerves trying to work. How can you be so sure? Jennifer pressed. Marcus met her gaze with a seriousness beyond his years. Because I've been through it, ma'am. Every sensation Ethan's having, I've had. Every pain, every tingle. I know what he's feeling because I've felt it. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, back to the story. Richard walked Marcus to the door. Marcus, do you need a place to stay? I can arrange. No, sir. I'll manage. I just need to know if I can come back tomorrow. Of course you can. Actually, Richard reached for his wallet. Let me give you money for transportation. Not necessary. I'll walk. Walk? But it's far. Marcus smiled. Sir, I walk all over the city. I'm used to it. See you tomorrow. He left, leaving Richard thoughtful at the door. That night at dinner, the topic was unavoidable. He seems to know what he's doing, Richard remarked. Seems is the key word, Jennifer countered. Anyone can seem convincing. Mom, but I really felt things for real. Sweetheart, you want to get better so badly that anything... Jennifer, Richard cut in. Let's give it a chance. 1 month, like we agreed, she sighed. Fine. But if he tries anything suspicious... He won't, Mom. I know he won't. Ethan was confident. You saw how he is. He didn't ask for money, didn't want anything but food. That's exactly what worries me, Jennifer murmured. No one does anything for free. But Ethan wasn't listening anymore. He was staring at his legs, imagining the day he'd walk again. The next day, Marcus arrived promptly at 3. This time, he carried an old backpack. What's in there? Ethan asked curiously. Some things that might help? Marcus pulled out a few small bottles of oils, all with handwritten labels. My grandma used to make these. I still have a few left. Jennifer picked up one of the bottles and sniffed it. That's a strong smell. What is it? Herbs, ma'am. Rosemary, rue, guinea. Each one has its purpose. Did you make these? Richard asked. No, Grandma did. I'm not as good as her yet, but I'm learning. That day's session was more intense. Marcus used the oils while massaging Ethan's legs, always explaining what he was doing. This spot here, he pressed below the knee, is the stomach point. Might seem strange, but everything in the body is connected. Ethan listened intently, fascinated. How did your grandma learn all this? From her grandma, who learned from hers. It's old knowledge, Ethan. From the days when there were no doctors in the countryside, just healers to care for people. And does it work on everyone? Marcus paused for a moment. No, some folks don't believe, and then it doesn't work. The body and mind have to work together. I believe, Ethan said firmly. I know. That's why it'll work. Jennifer, watching from the doorway, stepped closer. Marcus, can I ask you something? Of course, ma'am. Why are you doing this? You could be, I don't know, working, making real money. Marcus kept massaging Ethan's legs as he answered. Real money? Ma'am, what's more real than helping someone? My grandma died poor, but over 200 people came to her funeral. Folks she healed, folks she helped. That's worth more than money. But you need to survive. I survive, Mom. I eat and sleep when I can. But this, he gestured to Ethan, this is living, not just surviving. Richard, who'd been watching too, felt a lump in his throat. The wisdom of this 14-year-old boy put many adults he knew to shame. Marcus, Ethan called, do you miss your grandma? Every day, Ethan, every day. But you know what she used to say? That we don't really die as long as someone remembers us, and as long as I do what she taught me, she's alive in me. The session continued for another half hour. When it ended, Ethan was sweaty and tired, but there was a new light in his eyes. Dad, I think I moved my toe. Just a little, but I moved it. Richard rushed over, staring at his son's feet. "Are you sure?" "Try again, Ethan. Focus on your right big toe," Marcus instructed. Ethan closed his eyes, his face tight with concentration. Then, almost imperceptibly, his right big toe twitched. Jennifer let out a muffled cry. Richard's eyes widened. It was a tiny movement, but it was movement. "My God," Jennifer whispered. "He moved it. Richard, did you see? He moved it." Marcus smiled but didn't seem surprised. "I told you he'd be moving his toes in a month. Looks like it'll be sooner." Ethan was laughing and crying at the same time. "I moved it. After 2 years, I moved something." Richard knelt beside his son, tears streaming down his face. Jennifer hugged Ethan, her earlier doubts about Marcus completely forgotten. "It's just the beginning," Marcus said softly. "There's a lot of work ahead." "Marcus," Richard began, his voice choked, "I don't know how to thank you." "No need to thank me, sir. Just keep believing." That night, the Thompson house felt different. There was hope in the air, something that had been missing for the past 2 years. During dinner, Ethan couldn't stop talking about the session, about the things Marcus had explained. He said tomorrow we'll try other exercises. He said I need to strengthen my core first before thinking about standing up. "Easy, son," Jennifer cautioned, but she was smiling. "One step at a time." "I know, Mom. But it's been so long since I felt real hope." Richard took his son's hand. "I understand, Ethan. We all feel that way." After Ethan went to bed, Richard and Jennifer talked in the living room. "I still find it strange," Jennifer confessed. "A street kid with no education achieving what expensive doctors couldn't." "Maybe that's exactly why," Richard reflected. "He has a different kind of knowledge, something traditional medicine doesn't consider. Or maybe it's luck, a coincidence." "Jennifer, you saw what I saw." His finger moved. "I know. And I'm happy, Richard. Happier than I can say, but I'm also scared." "Scared of what?" "Of being disappointed again. Of Ethan being disappointed. What if this is all there is? What if it never goes beyond moving a finger?" Richard hugged his wife. "Then at least he moved a finger. It's more than we had yesterday." The next day, news of Ethan's small progress spread through the house. Mary, the housekeeper, cried with emotion. John, the driver, wanted to know every detail. The whole house felt lighter. Marcus arrived at his usual time, but this time he wasn't alone. An elderly man, walking with a slight limp, accompanied him. "This is Walter," Marcus introduced. "He wanted to meet you." The man, who looked about 70, extended his hand to Richard. "Pleasure, Doctor. I came to thank you." "Thank us for what?" Walter smiled. 3 years ago, I was in a wheelchair. The doctors said it was advanced arthritis, that I'd never walk again. Then I met Grandma Rose." Jennifer stepped closer, intrigued. "Marcus's grandmother?" "That's right, ma'am. She and the boy here treated me for 6 months. Look at me now, walking. I limp a little, sure, but I'm walking." Ethan, who had been brought into the room, listened intently. "You couldn't walk at all." "Not a bit, son. My legs were locked up, stiff as stone. The doctors wanted to operate, put in prosthetics. Grandma Rose said it wasn't necessary." "And how was it?" Richard asked. "The treatment?" "Just like what Marcus is doing with your son. Every day, patiently. It hurt sometimes, I won't lie, but the pain was my legs coming back to life." Marcus stayed quiet, letting Walter speak. The pride in his eyes was unmistakable. "But you didn't have what my son has," Jennifer pointed out. "Ethan has a degenerative condition." "I know, ma'am. Every case is different. But what I'm saying is, the boy knows what he's doing. His grandmother was a blessing from God, and he's inherited the gift." After Walter left, promising to return another day, the session began. Marcus seemed more animated, perhaps because of his former patient's visit. "Today we'll try something different, Ethan. I need you to trust me completely." "I do." Marcus asked Richard and Jennifer to help. He needed them to hold Ethan upright, supporting all his weight. "Easy," Jennifer protested. "He has no strength in his legs." "I know, Mom. You'll hold him. I just need him in a vertical position." Carefully, Richard and Jennifer lifted Ethan, each holding one side. The boy's legs dangled weakly, but technically he was standing. Now, Ethan, I want you to imagine. Close your eyes and picture yourself stepping onto the beach. Feel the sand between your toes. Ethan closed his eyes, concentrating. Marcus began working on his legs, even as he was suspended. Breathe deep. In your mind, you're walking on the beach. The sun is warm, the ocean is calm. Richard felt something, a slight tremor in Ethan's legs, as if his muscles were trying to respond. Keep imagining. You're walking, slowly, feeling each step. The tremor grew stronger. Jennifer looked at Richard, both frightened and hopeful at the same time. Very good, Ethan, now let's rest. They laid Ethan back on the mat. He was panting, as if he'd been running. Dad, I felt it. When I imagined walking, I felt my legs wanting to move. It's the power of the mind, Ethan, Marcus explained. Your brain still remembers how to walk. It just needs to remind your legs. The session continued with other exercises, some similar to the day before, others new. Marcus worked with total concentration, sometimes murmuring words that sounded like prayers. What are you saying? Jennifer asked. Asking permission, Marcus replied without stopping. My grandma used to say you have to ask the person's body for permission before trying to heal them. It's a matter of respect. When the session ended, Marcus was exhausted. The effort of concentration was visible on his young face. Are you okay? Richard asked, concerned. I'm fine, sir. Just tired, but it's a good kind of tired. During dinner that evening, Marcus now ate with the family before leaving. Ethan couldn't stop talking about the sensations he was experiencing. It's like my legs are waking up little by little. Today I even felt a tickle when Marcus pressed near my ankle. Tingling is a great sign, Marcus confirmed, eating with controlled appetite. It means the surface nerves are responding. Jennifer watched how Marcus ate, slowly, savoring each bite, but without excess. Polite, using his utensils correctly, thanking them for every dish served. Marcus, where did you learn such good manners? She asked. From Grandma Rose, ma'am. She used to say being poor isn't an excuse for being rude. We might not have money, but we have dignity. Richard once again felt the depth of this boy. Your grandmother sounds like she was an incredible woman. She was, sir. Her house was poor, but it was always full of people. She helped everyone, never charged those who couldn't pay. And you? Do you plan to do the same? Marcus looked at Ethan before answering. I do, sir. But first, I need to get good at what I do. I still have a lot to learn. You're already good, Ethan said with conviction. Really good. After dinner, Richard walked Marcus to the gate. Marcus, I need to ask you something. Go ahead, sir. Are you eating properly? I mean, besides the meals here. Marcus looked away. I get by. That's not an answer. Mr. Richard, you don't need to worry about me. The deal was food in exchange for treatments, and you're keeping your word. Richard pulled some bills from his pocket. At least take this for... No, sir. Marcus took a step back. Please, if I start taking money, it changes things. Then people will say it's about self-interest. But Marcus... Sir, I've survived this long. I'll keep surviving. What matters is Ethan getting better. And he left, leaving Richard with the money in his hand and a weight in his heart. That night, Richard couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Marcus, a 14-year-old boy sleeping on the streets, going hungry, yet refusing financial help to keep his work pure. You're thinking about him too? Jennifer asked in the dark. I am. It doesn't feel right, Jennifer. A boy like that. I know. But you saw how proud he is, in a good way. We need to think of something, a way to help without hurting his pride. We'll think of something. But Richard, do you really believe he can heal Ethan? Richard took a moment to answer. A week ago, I would have said no. But now, Jennifer, our son moved his toe, he felt tingling. It's the little things, but they're things the doctors said would be impossible. I'm starting to believe it too, Jennifer confessed. God forgive me for doubting, but I am. The next morning, Richard woke up with an idea. Oak. Over breakfast, he shared it with the family. I was thinking, what if we turned the guest room into a space for his sessions, something more suitable? Ethan loved the idea. Yes, we could put mats, support bars, mirrors, and Marcus could keep his things there, Jennifer added, catching the spirit of the idea. Exactly, what do you think? I think it's great, Dad. Should we tell him today? Let's. When Marcus arrived that afternoon, he was greeted with the news. Richard took him to the guest room. We want to turn this into your workspace. What do you think? Marcus looked around, clearly moved but trying not to show it. It's really big, sir. Just the right size to work properly. And look, it has a private bathroom. You can shower before sessions if you want. Marcus understood what Richard was offering between the lines. A place to clean up, to get ready. Dignity. Mr. Richard, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. During that day's session, Marcus seemed even more dedicated. Ethan noticed the difference. You happy with the new room? Very happy, Ethan. I've never had my own space to work before. It'll be our space, where I'll learn to walk again. Marcus smiled. That's right. Our miracle room. The session was particularly intense. Marcus introduced new exercises, some requiring more effort from Ethan. Now, I want you to try pushing against my hand. Not hard, just try. Ethan focused, his face red with effort, and then, almost imperceptible, but it was there, a slight pressure against Marcus's hand. Yes, did you feel that? I felt it. Dad, Mum, I pushed. Richard and Jennifer rushed over. Marcus repeated the exercise, and again there was that slight pressure. My Lord in heaven, Jennifer whispered. He's regaining movement. Slowly, ma'am, it's a long process, but yes, he's on the right path. In the weeks that followed, a routine settled in. Marcus arrived every day at 3, worked with Ethan for 2 hours, had dinner with the family and left. The therapy room was equipped with everything that might be useful. But the most important thing was the progress. Small, gradual, but steady. Ethan could now move all his toes. He could slightly contract his calf muscles. Sensation was returning. Then, about 3 weeks into the treatment, something happened that shook their newfound confidence. Dr. William Brandt, the neurologist who had been treating Ethan for 2 years, paid an unexpected visit. Jennifer had mentioned Marcus to him in a phone call, and the doctor decided to see for himself. Richard, Jennifer, he greeted coldly. Where's my patient? He's in his therapy session, Jennifer replied, not specifying what kind. Good. I'll examine him. They led him to the therapy room. Marcus was working on Ethan's legs when the doctor walked in. What's going on here? Dr. Brandt asked, his tone making his disapproval clear. Marcus stood up, intimidated by the man in the white coat. Good afternoon, sir. Who are you? Where's the certified therapist? Richard stepped in. Dr. Brandt, this is Marcus. He's helping Ethan with alternative techniques. Alternative? The doctor laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. Richard, please. You're letting a... Would a boy play with your son's health? This isn't a game, Ethan protested. Marcus is helping me. Ethan, sweetheart, the doctor said condescendingly as he approached. I understand you want to get better, but this isn't the way. You have a serious progressive illness. You need real medical treatment. Real medical treatment that hasn't made me move a single finger in 2 years, Ethan shot back, surprising everyone with his assertiveness. Ethan, Jennifer scolded. No, Mom, I'm tired of this. Dr. Brandt, you said I'd never walk again. You said the best we could hope for was to slow the progression. Well, look at this. And Ethan wiggled his toes, all of them, one after another, like a wave. The doctor's eyes widened. He stepped closer, examining. This is... How did you... It was Marcus. In 3 weeks, he achieved what you said was impossible. Dr. Brandt composed himself. Involuntary movements can happen. Muscle spasms, it doesn't mean real recovery. Involuntary? Richard grew irritated. Ethan, move just your right big toe. Ethan concentrated and moved only his right big toe. Now the left one. Ethan obeyed. The doctor was visibly unsettled. That shouldn't be possible given his condition. But it is, Doctor, Richard said firmly. And it's happening. Dr. Brandt turned to Marcus. You, what exactly are you doing to my patient? Marcus, intimidated but determined, replied, Techniques I learned from my grandmother, sir. Massage, stimulating specific points, exercises. Your grandmother? The doctor laughed disdainfully. Was your grandmother a doctor? A physical therapist? Did she have any training? No, sir, but she healed many people. Healed? The doctor was turning red. Do you know what quackery is, boy? Do you know it's a crime to practice medicine without a license? William, that's enough, Richard intervened. Marcus isn't charging anything, and he's not claiming to be a doctor. But he's interfering with medical treatment. This could be dangerous. And when Ethan's condition regresses, as it inevitably will, who will you blame? His condition isn't regressing, Jennifer said firmly. It's improving. For now. But what happens when the disease progresses again? This boy is giving false hope. Marcus, who had stayed quiet, finally spoke up. Doctor, do you know every disease that exists? What? Of course not, but... And do you know every way to heal? Boy, medicine is science, not this superstition you're practicing. Superstition that made Ethan move his toes? The doctor fell silent for a moment. Then he turned to Richard and Jennifer. I'll be very clear. If you continue with this, I can no longer be responsible for Ethan's treatment. It's him or me. Then goodbye, Doctor, Ethan replied. Thank you for everything, but I don't think we need your services anymore. Ethan, Jennifer exclaimed. Mom, he had 2 years. 2 years telling me there was no hope. Marcus gave me hope in 3 weeks. The choice is easy. Dr. Brandt grabbed his bag. You'll regret this. When reality hits, when you realize you've been fooled, don't come looking for me. He stormed out, slamming the door. The silence that followed was heavy. I'm sorry, Marcus murmured. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Richard placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. You didn't cause any trouble. The doctor did. But he's an important doctor. And you're the important Marcus, Ethan said. The Marcus who's making me walk again. Jennifer stepped closer. Ethan's right, we won't regret this. Marcus had tears in his eyes. Thank you. Thank you for trusting me. We're the ones who should thank you, Richard said. Now shall we continue? We have a treatment to finish. The session resumed, but Marcus was visibly shaken by the confrontation. His hands trembled slightly as he worked. Marcus, Ethan called, don't be like that. William doesn't understand. It's not that, Ethan, it's just, he's right about one thing. I'm not a doctor. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. Jennifer surprised everyone by saying, Marcus, I was the most skeptical here. But I saw what you did. I saw the care, the dedication. I trust you. Those words seemed to calm Marcus. He took a deep breath and returned to work with renewed determination. That night, after Marcus had left, the family had a long conversation. Do you think we did the right thing? Jennifer asked. Letting Dr. William go. Mom, he never believed I could get better. Marcus does. But Ethan, Dr. William is respected. He has years of study. And what good did that do? Richard interrupted. Jennifer, our son is getting better. That's what matters. I know, I'm just worried. What if the doctor is right? What if it's temporary? Ethan held his mother's hand. Then at least I've had this time of hope. It's better than living thinking there's nothing to be done. In the following days, news that the Thompsons had dismissed the renowned Dr. Williams spread through their social circle. Richard received calls from concerned friends, some even suggesting they were being irresponsible. But none of this shook the family's resolve, especially because the progress continued. One morning, about a month after the treatment began, Ethan woke up with a different sensation in his legs. Mom! Dad! He shouted. Richard and Jennifer rushed to their son's room, fearing the worst. What is it? Are you in pain? No, look! Ethan was sitting on the bed. Slowly, with great effort, he bent his right knee. Oh my God! Jennifer covered her mouth with her hands. Richard stepped closer, hardly believing it. Do it again. Ethan repeated the movement. It was difficult, clearly requiring a lot of effort, but he was bending his knee. We have to tell Marcus. Ethan was euphoric. It's 7 in the morning, son. He doesn't come until 3. Then let's go get him. Richard and Jennifer exchanged glances. They didn't know exactly where Marcus slept. Son, we don't know where he is. Ethan's expression fell. That's true. We never asked, did we? Jennifer felt a pang of guilt. They knew so little about Marcus's life outside those walls. Let's wait for him to arrive, Richard decided, and then we'll talk about it. But Ethan could barely contain his excitement. He spent the whole morning practicing the movement, each time getting a little easier. When Marcus finally arrived, Ethan practically shouted the news from the door. Marcus, I bent my knee, look! And he demonstrated. Marcus smiled widely, the first truly big smile they'd seen on him. I knew it. I knew you could do it. It was you. You made it happen. No, Ethan. I was just the tool. You're the one who did it. Your body, your will. During that day's session, Marcus focused specifically on the knee movement, strengthening and increasing its range. You know what this means? Marcus asked as he worked. It means the big muscles are responding. Soon we'll try something bigger. Like what? Like standing on your own. Ethan's eyes widened. Really? Really? But not yet. You need to get stronger first. Richard, who was watching, stepped closer. Marcus, we need to talk about something. Did I do something wrong, sir? No, quite the opposite. It's just, we realized we know very little about you. Where you live, how you get by. Marcus lowered his eyes. You don't need to worry about that, sir. But we do worry, Jennifer interjected. Marcus, you're part of our family now. The young man seemed surprised by the statement. Family? Of course, Ethan confirmed. You come here every day, eat with us. You're helping me more than anyone. Your family. Marcus was visibly moved. No one ever since Grandma passed, no one's called me family. Well, now you have, Richard said firmly. And family takes care of each other. So where have you been sleeping? Marcus hesitated, then sighed. There's an overpass nearby. Underneath it's dry, and the folks who sleep there respect me because I've helped some of them. Jennifer was horrified. An overpass, Marcus, that's dangerous. It's not so bad, ma'am. We look out for each other. No, Richard was adamant. That ends today. Sir, I can't accept. I'm not offering charity, Marcus. I'm offering a fair deal. You'll stay here in the therapy room. There's a sofa bed, a bathroom, everything you need. In return, you'll be available for extra sessions if Ethan needs them. What do you say? Marcus looked at Ethan, who nodded eagerly. Please, Marcus, it'd be so cool having you here. I don't know. Marcus, Jennifer stepped closer. You said your grandmother helped people. Do you think she'd want you sleeping on the streets when there's a better option? That seemed to reach him. He was silent for a moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, but only if I can help with other things too. I don't want to be a burden. Deal. Richard extended his hand. Marcus shook it, his grip firm despite his small hands. That afternoon, Richard and John, the driver, went with Marcus to get his belongings. There wasn't much, a backpack with clothes, some notebooks wrapped in plastic, the last few bottles of oil his grandmother had left. His room under the overpass was a corner shielded by cardboard and tarp. A few homeless folks approached when they saw Marcus packing up. You leaving, little Marcus? An elderly woman asked. I'm staying with a family I'm helping, Grandma Mary. Oh, that's good. A young boy shouldn't be on the streets. Marcus turned to Richard. Sir, this is Grandma Mary. She's had back pain for a while. Richard understood. Grandma Mary, if you'd like, you can come by the house. Marcus can take a look. The woman's eyes widened. Really, sir? Really? Marcus will give you the address. On the way back, Marcus was quiet, staring out the car window. What's on your mind? Richard asked. My grandma would be happy. She always said when you do good, good comes back to you. Your grandmother was a wise woman. She was. You know, sir, she died smiling. How so? On her last day, she called me over, said she'd taught me all she could, that it was my turn now. Told me never to charge those who couldn't pay, to always help those in need. Then she smiled and just slipped away, peaceful. Richard felt his eyes well up. The strength of this boy, the purity of his principles, was something rare. When they got home, Jennifer had the room ready, fresh sheets, towels, toiletries. You didn't have to do all this, Miss Jennifer. Yes, I did. And tomorrow we're buying you new clothes. But, no buts, you're family now, remember? Ethan was waiting eagerly. Marcus, your room's right next to mine. We're practically neighbors. Marcus smiled, still processing so much change. Yeah, we are. That night, for the first time in 6 months, Marcus slept in a real bed, took a long hot shower, ate when he was hungry. They'd made it clear he could take whatever he wanted from the kitchen. And for the first time in a long while, he cried. But these were different tears. Tears of gratitude, of missing his grandmother, of hope for the future. On the other side of the wall, Ethan was also awake, but not from anxiety or pain, like so many nights before. He was awake from happiness. His friend, his healer, his heart's brother was now right next door. And his legs were coming back to life. In the living room, Richard and Jennifer spoke softly. Did we do the right thing? Jennifer asked. I've never been more certain of anything in my life, Richard replied. That boy is special, Jennifer. I know. To think I almost sent him away on the first day, but you didn't, and now he's here. Safe. Richard, do you really think he can heal Ethan? I don't know if heal is the right word, but I know he's giving us our son back. The Ethan who smiles, who has hope, who fights. That's the boy we knew before the illness. You're right, and that's priceless. The next morning, the new routine began. Marcus woke up early, tidied his room meticulously, and went to the kitchen. Mary, the housekeeper, was already there. Good morning, Marcus. Would you like some coffee? Good morning, Miss Mary. Can I help with anything? Help? You're a guest, young man. I'm not a guest. I'm family. Family helps. Mary smiled. All right then. You can set the table for breakfast. When the family came downstairs, they found the table set and Marcus helping Mary with the last touches. Good morning, Ethan was beaming. Marcus, you have to try Mary's cheese bread. It's the best in the world. Over breakfast, they discussed the day's plans. Richard mentioned he had scheduled a shopping trip to buy clothes for Marcus. You don't need to get much, Mr. Richard. 2 outfits are enough. Marcus, you'll need more than that. And school supplies too. School supplies? You're going back to school, Jennifer declared. No arguments about this. Marcus lowered his eyes. I dropped out in 5th grade. Then you'll pick up where you left off. We'll find a good school with a schedule that doesn't interfere with Ethan's sessions. But it's been so long. Hey, Ethan got his attention. If I can learn to walk again, you can learn anything. We'll study together. Marcus smiled. The idea of going back to school, something that had seemed impossible, now felt real. That afternoon before the session, they went shopping. Marcus was amazed by all the options, but chose carefully, always picking the simplest and most affordable items. Marcus, you can choose whatever you like, Richard insisted. I like simple, sir. Here's what I know how to wear. In the end, they left with several outfits, new sneakers, and all the school supplies. Marcus carried the bags as if they were gold. Thank you, he said for the 100th time. I don't know how to repay you. Just keep doing what you're doing, Jennifer replied. That's repayment enough. Back at home, that day's session was special. Ethan was motivated by the shopping trip, by Marcus's constant presence, by everything. Today we'll try something new, Marcus announced, but I need you to trust me completely. I always do. Marcus positioned Ethan seated at the edge of the mat, feet on the floor. Richard and Jennifer watched nervously. Now, I want you to put weight on your feet. Don't try to stand, just feel the floor. Ethan concentrated. His feet, which hadn't borne weight in months, pressed against the ground. I feel it. The floor's cold. Great. Now, very slowly, lean forward. I'll hold you. With Marcus supporting him, Ethan leaned forward. For a moment, just a moment, his body's weight rested on his feet. "Oh my God," Jennifer whispered. "Easy," Marcus kept Ethan steady. "Breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. You're standing, Ethan." "I am?" Ethan was between laughter and tears. "I'm standing?" "With help, but yes. Your body remembers how." They held the position for maybe 10 seconds before Marcus gently helped Ethan sit back down. "How do you feel?" Like I just ran a marathon." Ethan was breathless, but glowing. "But it was amazing." Richard came over and hugged his son. "You were standing, son. I saw you standing." "It's just the beginning," Marcus said, though he was grinning too. "A little more each day." That evening, the family celebrated with a special dinner. Mary made Ethan's favorite dishes, and for the first time in a long while, the house was filled with genuine laughter. "A toast," Richard proposed, raising his glass of juice. "To Marcus, who brought hope to our home." "And to Ethan," Marcus added, "who never gave up." "To family," Jennifer finished, "now complete." They raised their glasses, and Ethan noticed tears in Marcus's eyes. "You okay?" "Yeah. It's just been a while since I felt part of something like this." "Well, get used to it," Ethan said, "because now you're part of it forever." In the following weeks, a routine settled in completely. Marcus woke early, helped Mary with breakfast, studied in the morning. Jennifer had hired a tutor to help him catch up, had lunch with the family, did afternoon sessions with Ethan, dined with everyone, and studied a bit more at night. Ethan's progress was remarkable. He could now stand with support for minutes and take small steps while holding on to parallel bars Richard had installed. But it wasn't just his physical improvement. Ethan was different, more confident, happier, more determined. And Marcus was changing too. The thin, wary boy was putting on weight, smiling more, letting himself be cared for. One day, Miss Mary, the homeless woman Marcus had mentioned, showed up at the house. She was clean, but clearly uneasy in that setting. "Marcus, my boy!" she exclaimed when she saw him. "Look how handsome you are." "Miss Mary, so glad you came." Richard and Jennifer welcomed her warmly. Marcus examined her back, guided her through some movements, and gave instructions. "You'll need to come 3 times a week, at least at first." "But honey, I can't afford—" "Who said anything about paying?" Richard interrupted. "You're Marcus's friend. You're our guest." And so it began. Miss Mary came 3 times a week, always in the late afternoon. Sometimes she brought other homeless people with aches and pains. Marcus treated them all with the same dedication he gave Ethan. The Thompsons' home became a small healing center. Jennifer, initially worried, eventually embraced the idea. She even helped by organizing schedules, making sure everyone was seen. "You know," she remarked one evening, "I never imagined our home would be like this, full of different people, different stories." "Regrets?" Richard asked. "Quite the opposite. I feel like we're finally doing something important, not just for Ethan, but for so many." A particularly memorable day came about 2 months after Marcus had moved in. Ethan was in his regular session when Marcus suggested something new. "I think it's time." "Time for what?" "For you to walk, really walk." The room fell silent. Richard and Jennifer stopped what they were doing to watch. You think I can?" "I don't think. I know." With infinite care, Marcus helped Ethan stand, but this time, instead of holding him firmly, he just offered his hands for support. "When you're ready, take a step. Just one." Ethan took a deep breath. His face showed absolute focus. Then slowly, dragging more than lifting, he moved his right foot forward. "That's it," Marcus encouraged. "Now the left." The left foot followed. It was hesitant, more of a shuffle, but it was walking. "I'm walking!" Ethan half laughed, half cried. "Mom! Dad, I'm walking!" Jennifer was openly weeping. Richard tried to film with his phone, but his hands shook too much. It was only 4 steps before Ethan had to sit, exhausted. But those 4 steps changed everything. "You did it," Marcus said, as emotional as the others. "You walked." "We did it," Ethan corrected. "You and me, together." That night, no one could sleep early. The excitement was too much. Ethan called grandparents, uncles, cousins, sharing the news. The house was alive with celebration. But amid the joy, Richard noticed Marcus was unusually quiet, thoughtful. "Everything okay?" Marcus smiled, but there was something melancholy in his gaze. "Just thinking about my grandma. How happy she would be to see this." "She is seeing it," Richard said with conviction. "Wherever she is, she's watching and she's proud." "You think so?" "I'm certain. Marcus, what you've done, it's a miracle." "It's not a miracle, Mr. Richard. It's knowledge, dedication, and love. That's what Grandma taught me. Love heals more than any medicine." Richard hugged the boy, not as employer and employee, not as adult and child, but as father and son, because that's what Marcus had become. The next day, news of Ethan's progress spread. Relatives and friends wanted to visit, to see the miracle. Some were still skeptical, others curious about Marcus and his methods. One of the visitors was Dr. Michael, a doctor friend of Richard's with an open mind. "May I examine Ethan and speak with Marcus?" The examination was thorough. Dr. Michael tested reflexes, sensitivity, muscle strength. His face showed growing amazement. "This is extraordinary. The neurological improvement is undeniable." He turned to Marcus. "Young man, what exactly do you do?" Marcus patiently explained the pressure points, the movements, the importance of the mind-body connection. Dr. Michael listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions. "You know," the doctor finally said, "there's scientific basis for what you do. Neuroplasticity, meridian stimulation. You're intuitively applying principles modern medicine is just beginning to fully understand." "So it's not quackery?" Jennifer asked. "Far from it. It's a different kind of knowledge, passed down through generations, deserving respect and study. Marcus, have you ever considered studying medicine? With your practical knowledge and formal education." Marcus seemed surprised. "Me, a doctor? But I barely went back to school." "Think about it. You have a gift. Imagine how many people you could help by combining your traditional knowledge with modern medicine." The seed was planted. Marcus spent the following days deep in thought, torn between pride in his grandmother's wisdom and the possibility of expanding it. It was Ethan who helped him decide. "Marcus, your grandma wouldn't want you to stop learning. She taught you everything she knew. Now you can learn more and teach others." "You think so?" "I'm sure. And just imagine, Dr. Marcus Johnson has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?" Marcus laughed. "You're dreaming too big." "What? Didn't you teach me to dream big? That the impossible is just a matter of work and faith?" And so, little by little, Marcus embraced the idea. He would continue honoring his grandmother's knowledge while learning new ways to heal. Months passed. Ethan progressed to walking with a walker, then a cane. The prediction was that soon he wouldn't need any support at all. Marcus immersed himself in his studies, showing remarkable intelligence and dedication. The house continued welcoming people in need. Mary's back improved so much she began helping Marcus with other patients. A small healing community formed around them. A year after that first meeting at the hospital door, the family celebrated not one, but many miracles. Ethan walked unaided, still with some difficulty, but he walked. Marcus had earned a full scholarship to a prestigious private school, his grades exemplary. "You know," Richard said during the celebratory dinner, "a year ago, if someone had told me a street kid would change our lives like this, I wouldn't have believed it." "It wasn't just any street kid," Jennifer corrected. "It was Marcus, our Marcus." "And you changed my life too," Marcus replied. "You gave me more than a home and food. You gave me family, a future, hope." Ethan raised his glass. "A toast. To Grandma Rose, who, without even knowing us, saved us all." "To Grandma Rose," everyone toasted. Marcus had tears in his eyes. "She always said kindness spreads like water. You help one, that one helps another, and so it goes." "I think she was right. She always was," Ethan confirmed, "and we'll keep spreading it." The journey had been long, filled with doubts, fears, and challenges. But there, at that table, surrounded by love and gratitude, Marcus knew his grandmother would be proud. The poor boy who promised to heal in exchange for food had kept his word and gained far more than he ever expected. And Ethan, the boy doctors said would never walk again, not only walked but ran toward life, proving that the greatest miracles happen when love, faith, and ancestral knowledge come together. But the story didn't end there. It was only the beginning of an even greater journey, where knowledge would be passed on, where more people would be healed, where Grandma Rose's legacy would live through her grandson and everyone he touched. Because in the end, as Marcus learned, there is no greater miracle than transformative love, persistence in the face of the impossible, and the courage to believe when everyone says to give up. 2 years had passed since that life-changing encounter. The Thompson household was unrecognizable, not in its structure but in its energy. What was once a silent mansion, marked by pain and despair, now pulsed with life. Ethan, now 14, played soccer in the yard with other neighborhood teens. He still limped slightly when tired, but he ran, jumped, and lived. Marcus, 16, watched from the porch while studying for school exams. "Studying that hard, you'll top your med school exams," Jennifer remarked, bringing him juice. "That's a long way off, Mrs. Jennifer. First I have to finish high school." "You'll finish with honors, I'm sure. Your teachers can't stop praising you." The free clinic project had grown. Once a week, the garage transformed into an improvised office where Marcus, now supervised by Dr. Michael, treated those in need. Mary had become his official assistant, organizing files and schedules. "Marcus!" Ethan shouted from the yard. "Come play! Too much studying is bad for you. In a minute. Just one more chapter." But Ethan didn't wait. He ran up the stairs and jumped onto his friend's back. "You promised to teach me that new move today?" All right, Marcus laughed, closing the book. "Let's go." In the room that was now their official therapy space, the two worked together. Ethan no longer needed intensive treatment, but they kept up weekly sessions for maintenance and strength. "You know," Ethan said as Marcus guided his movements, "sometimes I still can't believe it, that I'm walking, running. You always could. You just needed to remember how." "No, Marcus, I needed you. If you hadn't shown up, another path would have appeared. When you're ready, the universe sends help." "Getting philosophical again?" Ethan laughed. "Madison said you look handsome when you talk like that." Marcus blushed. Madison was a classmate, the daughter of one of the patients he'd helped. "Stop it." "It's true. She asked if you're going to her quinceañera." "Ethan!" The conversation was interrupted by Richard entering. "Boys, we have visitors." In the living room, a nervous family waited, father, mother, and an 8-year-old girl in a wheelchair. The story was familiar. Paralysis after an accident, doctors with no hope. Marcus knelt in front of the girl. "Hi, what's your name?" "Sophie," she answered shyly. "Nice to meet you, Sophie. I'm Marcus. This is my brother Ethan." Ethan stepped closer. "Hey, Sophie, you know, I used a wheelchair too." The girl's eyes widened. "Used to?" "Yep, for 2 years. Thought I'd never walk again. But Marcus helped me." "And now you walk." In response, Ethan did a spin. Not perfect, but a spin. Sophie smiled for the first time. "Can I do it too?" Marcus held her small hands. "Let's try. But I need you to promise me one thing. Never give up. It might be hard, it might take time, but if you don't give up, we'll make it. I promise." The parents were moved. The mother held Jennifer's arm. "Is it true? Your son is walking again?" "It's true. Marcus saved my son. He saved our family." The sessions with Sophie began the following week. Marcus applied everything he had learned, adapting it to her specific case. Ethan helped, demonstrating exercises and offering encouragement. "You're my official assistant now," Marcus joked. "Of course. Who better to help than someone who's been through the same thing?" It was true. Ethan had a special connection with young patients. He understood their fears, frustrations, and hopes. During one session, Sophie asked, "Marcus, how did you learn to do this?" "My grandmother taught me. She was a healer." "What's a healer?" "Someone who heals with their hands and heart, who understands the body and soul must be treated together." Your grandma must have been really cool, Marcus smiled fondly. She was. She's a star now, but she still guides me. Sophie thought for a moment. So you're a healer too? I guess so. A healer who also studies modern medicine. That's so cool. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Those words stayed with Marcus. That night at dinner, he shared them with the family. I think I understood something today about what Grandma wanted when she taught me. What? Richard asked. That knowledge doesn't die. It passes from person to person, generation to generation. Sophie wants to learn. Others will too. What Grandma started won't end with me. Are you thinking of teaching? Jennifer asked. In the future, when I know more, when I combine everything Grandma taught me with what I'll learn in college. A healing school, Ethan suggested. One that teaches traditional and alternative medicine together. Exactly. The idea took shape in their conversations. Richard, ever the businessman, began making plans. Jennifer researched integrations of traditional and alternative medicine in other countries. Ethan sketched designs for the space. But the present demanded attention. Sophie showed small improvements. New patients arrived. Marcus balanced studies, treatments, and his own adolescence. You need to rest too, Jennifer warned. Go to the movies, hang out with friends. I do rest. Studying anatomy isn't resting, Ethan cut in. Come on, Madison asked me to invite you to the movies. It'll be a group thing. Marcus hesitated. The responsibility weighed on him sometimes. So many people depending on him, trusting him. You know what Grandma would say? Richard joined in. To care for others, you must first care for yourself. Go have fun. And Marcus went. He discovered he could be both a teenager and a healer. That laughing with friends didn't diminish his ability to heal. That living fully made him better at what he did. Months passed. Sophie took her first supported steps. Other patients showed significant progress. Marcus ranked first in several subjects. Ethan officially became his assistant in sessions. Then came a special day, the 3-year anniversary of their first meeting. The family decided to celebrate with something meaningful. We have a surprise, Richard announced at dinner. They led Marcus to the garden where a plaque stood covered by a cloth. What's this? Find out, Jennifer encouraged. Marcus pulled the cloth. The plaque read, Rose Johnson Center for Integrative Healing. Foundation. What? How? It's the beginning, Richard explained. We registered a foundation. When you graduate, we'll have our own space, equipment, everything to make your dream of teaching and healing come true. Marcus couldn't speak. Tears streamed down his face. The name, he finally whispered. It had to be, Ethan said. Grandma Rose started it all. It's only right that it bears her name. Marcus hugged each of them, lost for words to express what he felt. His grandmother, a simple woman from the countryside of Louisiana, would have her name immortalized in a healing center. Would she be proud? He asked the sky. In response, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, carrying the scent of rosemary, Grandma Rose's favorite herb. Everyone felt it. Everyone understood. I think she answered, Jennifer smiled, wiping her own tears. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He stayed on the porch, gazing at the stars, silently talking to his grandmother. I did it, Grandma, or rather we're doing it. Your knowledge didn't die. It's going to live, grow, help so many people. You always said I had a purpose. I think I finally understand what it is. Ethan appeared, limping slightly. He always limped more when he was tired or emotional. Can't sleep either. Too much on my mind. They sat side by side, two brothers fate had improbably brought together. Marcus, can I tell you something? Of course. That day in the hospital, I had given up. I didn't tell my parents, but I had. I thought I'd spend the rest of my life in that wheelchair. Ethan, let me finish. Then you showed up, out of nowhere. A kid my age saying you could heal me in exchange for food. Know what made me believe you? What? Your eyes. There wasn't a single doubt in them, just pure certainty. And I thought, if he's so sure, who am I to doubt? Marcus smiled. Grandma used to say the same thing, that the healer has to believe more than the patient. That faith moves mountains, but certainty moves the world. Well, you moved my world, literally. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the night. So now what? Ethan asked. What's next? Now we keep going. One patient at a time, one day at a time, until the center becomes a reality. Until Grandma's knowledge reaches the whole world. I'll be by your side, always. I know, brothers forever, right? Forever. The next day, life went on. Marcus woke early, studied, saw patients, joked with Ethan, had dinner with the family. A routine that would have been extraordinary if it hadn't become his normal. During Sophie's session, she managed to stand on her own for 5 seconds. 5 seconds that felt like an eternity to everyone in the room. "I stood up!" she shouted. "Mommy, I stood up!" her mother cried. Her father filmed. Marcus and Ethan hugged. Another everyday miracle in the house that had become a temple of healing. "This is why," Marcus whispered to Ethan. "For these moments. This is why we do it." "And we'll keep doing it," Ethan affirmed. "For all the Sophies and Ethans who need hope." That afternoon, as Marcus studied and Ethan helped Sophie with gentle exercises, Jennifer and Richard watched from the doorway. "You know," Jennifer said, "sometimes I still can't believe everything that's happened. It feels like a dream." "The best kind of dream," Richard agreed. "The kind that comes true." "Our boys, they're going to change the world, aren't they?" "They already are. One person at a time." And it was true. In that house that once held despair, hope now lived. In hearts that once knew only pain, joy now beat. And all because a poor boy believed his grandmother's knowledge was worth more than gold. The journey continued. There would be challenges, hard moments, patients who wouldn't respond to treatment. But there would also be victories, everyday miracles, lives transformed. And at the center of it all, two unlikely brothers, one who learned to walk again and another who learned that walking for others is the noblest path. The future Rose Johnson Center would be more than a healing center. It would stand as proof that love, when joined with knowledge and persistence, can indeed move mountains. But that was the future. The present called for presence, work, dedication. And Marcus was ready. At 16 years old, carrying the ancestral wisdom of his grandmother and a thirst for modern knowledge, he walked steadily toward his destiny. By his side, Ethan, living proof that miracles exist. Behind them, a family that learned the greatest treasures aren't kept in vaults, but shared with the world. And somewhere among the stars, Grandma Rose smiled. Her legacy was safe. Her knowledge would live on. And through her grandson and all those he touched, she would continue healing the world, one person at a time. Because in the end, as Marcus learned and now taught, there is no greater power than the love that heals, the faith that sustains, and the certainty that there is always, always hope. The end of the story. And what about you, dear listener? Have you ever witnessed a miracle born of faith and love? Tell us in the comments if this story touched your heart. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for more inspiring tales.